Hello, this is Photography Gamer, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm reviewing Risk of Rain 2 on Steam. It's on Nintendo, PlayStation and Xbox as well. Risk of Rain 2 is a roguelike third-person shooter developed by Hopu Games. You play as a survivor stranded on an alien world. The game sees you work your way through various levels, kill monsters, loot power-ups and take on large bosses. The game can be played solo or online with up to 4 players. So what is the game like to play? Well, control-wise, it's a remarkably fluid and smooth affair with various attacks and special moves available. There isn't any tutorial as such, so you're just thrown in the deep end and left to figure it out for yourself. Early on, I would say it is a bit confusing as to what each power-up does, what each collectible does, as you don't have time to really look it up when you're being hounded by mobs of enemies. But thankfully the game has an excellent menu that you can view in between runs, and it breaks down each item that you've collected, what it's used for, so do your research in between runs to help yourself out. General play goes something like this. You land on a planet, kill enemies to obtain currency, use that currency to unlock power-ups, find a teleportation device, you activate it, stay within a zone to get it to 100%, and defeat the boss that spawned when you activated it. Then you can teleport off to the next stage or stick around and spend your coins because they don't carry over. And that's pretty much it. Quite simple, quite repetitive, but quite good fun when you're doing well, that is. There's a host of characters that you can unlock over each run. They've all got their own unique set of moves, strengths and weaknesses, and there's someone there for everybody. The game worlds are pretty large and provide an interesting backdrop for the epic fights, in particular with the bosses, and they go on for some time and they're really quite enjoyable. The longer you play Risk of Rain 2, the harder it gets, which can be seen in a difficulty slider on the HUD. So you're always on the clock, and if you take too long, you might end up facing enemies that you're not ready for. But on the flip side of that, the longer you spend in a level, the more money and loot that you will get. So it's a pretty interesting balancing act there. Another thing that needs to be pointed out is this is a roguelike, which means one life. If you die, game over. That character's lost forever, along with the power-ups that you obtained. You can't save the game at a checkpoint to continue at a later time, and the runs can last quite a while, so it's probably not a game for anyone who has to come and go. But again, the game doesn't really reward you for the time that you put in, as everything gets lost on your death. Yes, you unlock characters, but it can be quite a jarring experience and one that isn't for people who have a limited amount of time at their disposal. In terms of graphics, it's a colourful and vibrant experience with nicely created worlds, cool characters, whether that's the main protagonist or the varied and interesting enemies. The music and sound effects are, what I would say standard sci-fi fare, but they do suit it quite well. Okay, what's good and what's bad? Good points, the graphics and level design are strong, the loop is addictive, simple, and it feels fresh each time that you play. And when you're in the midst of a really good run, it's incredibly entertaining. Bad points, the roguelike gameplay does mean you'll spend a lot of dead time in this game with no real reward for your efforts. The levels get a bit tired after you've done them several times, even though the items are randomly placed. And I can't say unlocking new characters was an adequate reward for so-called progression. So what's the verdict? Risk of Rain 2 is a simple yet fun sci-fi shooter that's a solid challenge, and when things are going well, it is a real delight to play. But due to any lack of saved progression, the game does have a limited shelf life. It's that crushing sense of disappointment and pointlessness that hits you after yet another run where you get nothing for your time. If you have lots of time to waste, then it won't be a big problem, but for busy people or gamers who, have kids or have responsibilities who need to sort of get, progression for their time, I would probably avoid it, but it's still quite entertaining. I still liked it, even though it's got some issues, but despite the flaws, yeah, very playable, entertaining, and it feels fresh one run to the next, but it is a waste of time in some regard. Scoring wise, I would give Risk of Rain 2, I'd give it a 7 out of 10 because it's good. Is it the best roguelike I've played? Probably not. Is it the worst? No, it's definitely entertaining, but limited in regard to its appeal, I would say. A lot of people will play this, and just think, why did I just spend an hour playing that? Why did I spend 5 hours? Because I haven't actually got anything back. So, you know, bear that in mind when you're making your purchase choice. Okay, that was the review. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please like and subscribe. This is Photography Gamer signing off. Thank you.